Hi guys, so we've gotten pretty good this week at understanding the purpose, author's purpose of a story. We know that in this book, Memoirs of a Hamster, the main purpose that Devin Scillian wanted was to entertain you. It's a fun book. There's humor in it. There's lots of different ways that it's entertaining to us. There's great illustrations that also help entertain the reader. We talked about how authors can try to also persuade sometimes. While this book doesn't try to persuade, we know that newspaper articles or opinion pieces, sometimes other books are trying to persuade you. If you're trying to write a letter to someone or ask for something, you're trying to persuade them to do something or get something. So persuasion is an author's purpose, and we know that Pearl the cat uses persuasion in this story. She's trying to persuade Seymour to get out of his cage for her own purposes, and she uses a couple of different reasons to kind of lure him out and persuade him to come out of his cage. Yesterday, we talked about the author's purpose of inform. You were able to read through different nonfiction passages about different types of rodents. And so hopefully you learned something new, because all of those passages were written with the intent and the purpose to inform you as a reader, to teach you something new and to give you information. So now that we've kind of mastered, hopefully, our author's purpose, we reviewed point of view. We know that Seymour is the narrator of the story, and so because he is the narrator, he uses words like I and my and me and talking about his life and his story. We know that's in first person. He's the narrator. He's telling it from his point of view, meaning that it's first person. Today, I want us to review perspective. And to look at perspective, we're going to kind of pay attention to the illustrations, because those are really good ways that I can make inferences, like we've talked about, to help us understand what the different characters are feeling, thinking, things like that, okay? Out of all of the characters in the story, the three animals have different types of perspectives, and you're going to kind of work on that today in your assignment. So what I want us to start with is kind of taking a look at Seymour and the beginning of the story. We can see he's got a smile on his face, he's waving, he looks pretty happy. From his perspective, I would say being a hamster is pretty great, right? His opinion, his thoughts, his feelings, life is good, right? And then he goes on, and in the story, he even says in the text, it says, question, who's the luckiest hamster in the world? Answer, me. And the illustrator, Tim Bowers, did a great job showing how happy little Seymour is in his life. Then, however, we notice that his perspective can sometimes change. Like when he first introduces us to the character of the little girl and he gets a kiss from her, his perspective is that kisses from little girls are disgusting, right? He says that. We can see his face, and I can infer then he does not like that. That's his perspective, right? But I would think the little girl probably has the perspective that kissing hamsters is sweet, right? And she loves him, so she does that. Moving along in this story, we have Pearl come introduce her trouble, right? Looking at the illustration of Pearl, does she look happy, joyful, like little Seymour that we saw earlier? Not quite, right? I'm looking at her, and I can say that her perspective maybe is that she's going to be a little tricky. She's going to look out for her and kind of think about what's best for Pearl, okay? And then once Seymour discusses things with Pearl and talks to Pearl, his perspective starts to change. What do we notice about him now after he's visited with Pearl a little bit? Does he seem like the same joyful little hamster from earlier? Does he love his cage? Probably not, okay? And then Buck is kind of just always hanging around, not really causing problems, not really helping any problems, but he's just there doing his own thing. Let's see. So then we know that Seymour spends the next night kind of trying to escape, right? He doesn't get to rest or anything. He doesn't run on his thing. He's able to escape and try to explore the house and find the sunroom like Pearl persuaded him to do, okay? So he gets out, he escapes, he makes his way to the sunroom, and then again, his perspective has changed. Looking here at the illustrations, is he content? Is he happy with his decision? Not at all. And even the text clues say, note to self, cats are big fat liars. He got tricked, right? So his perspective now, before, maybe Seymour trusted Pearl. He thought that she was trying to help him. He thought that she was just trying to give him more opportunities and more ways to explore. But really, we found out that that was not true. She was trying to trick him, and he's learned that now. So his perspective has changed. His viewpoint of her has changed. So that's a great way to kind of think about the perspective of the animals in the house, okay? When you're making your own perspective today, when you're writing about your own ideas, think about all of the animals in the house. Think about what they do. Think about what they like. Think about how they feel about things, and that's going to help you identify their perspectives. To talk about perspective without the story, let's think about this, okay? Maybe you and your family members have different perspective on things. Maybe your mom or your dad loves to eat broccoli, but you hate broccoli, okay? Your perspective on that is different. Maybe mom thinks, well, broccoli is healthy, it's delicious, it has lots of vitamins in it, so I love broccoli. It's good for you, it's great. And maybe your perspective is, I don't like broccoli, it's green and weird, it tastes bad, I don't like the way it looks. And your perspective is broccoli is bad. Now, are either of those perspectives correct or wrong? No, it's just your opinion, your perspective, your viewpoint of it. The cool thing about perspective is that it can change. Our life experiences helps change perspective. Things that happen to us or things that we learn, ways that we grow and change, also change our perspective. So perspective is different for everyone. Everyone can see from their own viewpoint. They see from their own eyes, using their own brain, their own heart to help them make opinions and decisions about the world. So today in your assignment, you're going to talk about the perspective of Seymour, Pearl, and Buck, and kind of talk about the different things that they may have perspectives on. Hopefully that helps, and I hope you have fun doing it.